Number 3, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Oh, the ever-glorious Link to the Past. What an incredible step forward from the original Zelda on the NES. In this game, you play as Link, the hero, and you have to stop the evil Ganon from taking over Hyrule by rescuing some maidens, getting some cool items, and reflecting some magic with the Master Sword. Or with the bug catcher's net. Either way. Sound familiar? It should. The plot is pretty basic, and it's nothing we hadn't seen before. And it's nothing we wouldn't see again. I feel like it has just enough story and mystery to keep the motivation high, without feeling like you're being force-fed objectives the whole time. Outside of the plot, the game is your classic top-down action-adventure game. This means that the game will have its fair share of both combat and exploration, and you can be sure it will be stuffed full of secrets around every corner. Unlike in the original NES Zelda, which had some, obscure solutions, this game is full of puzzles that will make the player feel smart. It guides you into thinking with the rules of a top-down action-adventure game so well that all of this will come to you very naturally. You'll start to get curious about things like rock formations, which are laid out a certain way, or maybe you'll feel like you should light every lantern you see, hoping to hear that familiar Zelda jingle. The puzzles in this game are generally very rewarding to solve, and are just difficult enough without being frustrating. Though you could make the argument that the Ice Palace was a bit of a chore. Beyond just finding secrets, your options really open up as you get more and more items, as well as more powerful upgrades. Then things open up even more when you get access to the Dark World. But really, the most important thing here is that even without having any items, movement in sword combat is just straight up fun. That means that as soon as you get the sword and shield from your uncle, you are having a good time in this journey. Item variety is also great, and you also get my favorite top-down Zelda item, the boomerang, almost immediately. This is the first Zelda game to have the hookshot, but also introduced dashing, different magical medallions, and many other awesome additions to the franchise. These items are utilized creatively all over the map. You may see something early on that you can't interact with because you don't have bombs yet, or you may be almost at the end of the game using an item from really early on to do some side puzzle. Using all of the items where appropriate is a ton of fun, and really makes you feel like a master of Link to the Past. The aesthetics are great for the time, partly because they don't overextend and try to do what the tech isn't able to do, which is a temptation that many a 16-bit game stumble into. This leads to a very nice and clean look. The dungeons are all themed, as I said before, but they don't tend to be more than a simple usage of color changes and a few specific to dungeon tiles to convey what's happening in one dungeon versus another. It's never convoluted or complex, but they still manage to do a lot of great things within their boundaries. Just look at the scene where you first get the Master Sword. Everything is simple, but the way they manage to use the graphical layering and a couple of choice effects makes it all quite beautiful. Other than the graphics, the music is another step forward for the franchise. While Zelda 2 may have pushed the musical boundaries first on the NES, the jump to a 16-bit Zelda put in a ton of iconic music. Rather than just having a basic set of music used universally for everything, Link to the Past had a lot of context-appropriate music for different locations, story moments, overworlds, and more. This isn't exactly a 5+ hour fully orchestrated soundtrack like you'll see from other Zelda entries down the road, but we really developed a sense of personality here that will stick with the franchise for years and years to come. Beyond all of that, the thing that really makes any Zelda game great to me are the dungeons. This game has 11 amazingly designed and themed dungeons that will make you feel smart and satisfied when you finally figure them out. Alright, maybe it only has 10 for some of you. As I said earlier, the Ice Palace can get a little bit monotonous if you make a misstep. Each and every one of these dungeons also has a great and satisfying boss at the end of it. Alright, so maybe not the battle versus Moldorm in the Tower of Hera, but again, let's say 10 amazing bosses of dungeons. Then on top of that, there's Ganon himself, and Aghanim. And aside from all these dungeons and bosses, there's a ton of secrets to discover in the overworld, and heart pieces to collect, and just a ton to do. And all of it is fun. All in all, this game is just a masterpiece of game design, and has many very memorable moments, such as the first time you pick up the Master Sword in the Dark Woods, or the first time you arrive on the top of the pyramid in the Dark World. This is not only my third favorite Super Nintendo game and one of my favorite action-adventure games, but it is also one of the definitive games of the genre. If you're into games and you haven't played this one, then you really need to get on that, because this one is a must play. More corrupted video. Oh yeah, there it is. Just audio this time, just like last time. Seriously though, who's not putting Link to the Past on their top 10 favorite Super Nintendo games? We actually just live streamed this game on my Twitch, twitch.tv/62bitgaming, and I think it would have been pretty obvious from watching that this is clearly one of my favorites. So my question on this one is pretty simple. I'm looking for 3 things here. Favorite top-down Zelda, favorite 3D Zelda, and just to shake things up, most overrated Zelda. I want to know your guys' opinions on all 3 of those things. Now keep in mind, I'm not looking for best top-down Zelda, best 3D Zelda. I'm looking for your favorites here. So as always, don't forget to click them social links in the description, subscribe here on YouTube. If you want to watch our last video on Chrono Trigger, which you should because that game is glorious, click on the video going on the left side of the screen, and if the number 2 game is already out, you can click on the right side to go watch that one as well. I am Gimpy Fish. This is 62-Bit Gaming. Thank you all for watching.